Are you stupid?
Okay, where does he explain that he is not in fact talking about planting some evergreen trees around his country house?
He's got you there.
So that they block the wind.
He's got you there. He's got you there.
Dude, are you people this ridiculously white?
Marijuana is illegal. I don't know if you know that, but I don't think somebody would just put like talking about drugs in a song.
Yeah, like that's illegal, and I'm pretty sure it's not proper form to speak about in a creative expression such as that song.
I do not even partake in Beelzebub's kale, but even I know this shit.
I'm sorry, I can't. Did you just fucking say Beelzebub's kale? I can't deal with this. Hey Tad, let me tell you about all the times I've almost fucking died.
Alrighty. Oh, so I think one thing that everyone can say is that they've probably almost died at least like 3 times in their life.
I'm not actually sure about that.
I mean, okay. Yes, probably. I'm going to put money on it and say yes, even if they don't know it.
Yeah.
They've been really close to dying several times.
I mean, okay, so the way this episode leads in is I seriously thought that like more people had near-death experiences until I started talking about my near-death experiences. People were like, what the fuck? Why are you doing these things?
Yeah.
So Tad, let me tell you about all the times I've almost died. It's a lot of times.
Yeah, I have a fairly similar situation going on with just general ridiculous shit happening. Like, apparently people don't just, walk into any gas station and immediately have like 10-minute weird conversations with crazy maybe serial killer homeless people. This just happens to me. And as a matter of course, Michael almost dies. These are just things that
Apparently.
occur.
You good? You back?
Yeah.
What happened? Oh. It sounded like you just cut out.
No, I was giving you a fucking segue.
Well, it was a very abrupt segue.
Yeah.
You hear that sound? Meow. It's a segue.
Yeah, so I actually had to categorize all the times that I've almost died for this episode. 8 major times that I can count.
Major?
Yeah. Well, they're broken down into sections and subsections. We'll lead up to the one major, like the cliffhanger, if you will, time that I almost died. But I have, just to give you a quick overview, I have almost died on a mountain. I have almost died in the sky. I have almost died underwater. I have almost died in a car, and I have almost died snowboarding.
So you've almost died in all 4 elements.
Yes, except for I've never almost died by being on fire.
Hold up. He's Aang from Avatar. He just needs to master firebending.
Oh, shit.
He's the Avatar.
Oh, I can't wait to have M. Night Shyamalan make a fantastic movie about me.
Here's what we're gonna do. All right, so I'm gonna have you hold this gas can, and we're gonna shoot Roman candles at you.
Wait, did you have a Roman candle fight?
Shit! I do have a time I almost died in fire. I have suppressed this memory.
Oh shit! He's going to go into the Avatar state.
You just mentioned fireworks, and I remember
this one.
You remember when we used to have like, okay, well, I guess this is the first story then. I was like 8 years old, 8 or 9 years old. Yeah, 8 or 9 years old, and our parents, we used to do a harvest festival every year at our house instead of Halloween, but I was a child, so I didn't know I was missing Halloween. Yeah, that's what our parents did. I found out about this later. I was like, hey, I didn't get to do Halloween or trick-or-treating when I was like 9 to 10. Why was that? And they're like, hey, those harvest festivals that we had were sure fun, right? Yeah. So we did like fireworks and stuff. I don't know. But one time, my dad took one of those. He drove across state lines because in Ohio they're illegal. So he drove across state lines to get the good shit. And he
went to Indiana.
Yeah. He came back with, I think it's like a black cat mortar thing. It's like a legit one. and he goes over to light it and tells everybody to stand back. And of course, it gets knocked over and shoots right at my head. And I've suppressed this memory, but it exploded behind me, and I think missed hitting me in the face by like, I don't know, 6 inches or something.
No, yeah, I was standing next to him
like,
at the time.
Blind us. And I've just remembered this now, because apparently I suppressed this memory, which is what happens when you have near-death experiences. You suppress them. You suppress them deep down in your psyche so you don't wake up in existential horror.
For my part, I've almost died in several ways. Mostly, though, related to cars, since I did, the whole pizza delivery driving thing. And I also had a friend who lived way out in the country, and those country roads got sketchy. However, it doesn't really count since I wasn't actually in any real danger, in actuality, but I was in the middle of what ended up not being a big deal, but at the time was an active school shooting situation.
I remember this day.
Yeah. That's the time that I sent you ravioli. Give me the formula.
Okay, so we're doing this already? Okay, we have me and my brother Michael here have a long-standing tradition of, 6 years or whatever, however long this fucking joke has been around, of there was one of those, don't text and drive ads. There's this girl holding up, a text on a white signboard. Also, note, if you're listening to this, don't ever hold anything up on a white piece of paper in black text and put it on the internet. Don't have a picture of you holding a sign. Just don't do it. But, she held up the thing. It was like, this is the last text I sent my sister before she died. And, the sister read the text and died in a car crash. And now feels really guilty about it. But people, of course, just changed that to all sorts of bullshit. And for some reason, the one that we found the funniest was just ravioli. Give me the formuoli.
Give me the formuoli.
And so, as a matter of course now,
I love it.
Anytime either one of us is in genuine life-threatening peril, we make sure to send the other ravioli, give me the formuoli.
Which is apparently, it happens more than once. I've sent him this message more than once.
Yeah, because the hope is that, if one of us happens to die, and then they check my phone and say, I wonder what he sent, to his family in the last months, it must have been very meaningful. And it's just that shitty-ass joke.
Ravioli, give me the formula. The rescuers find his phone. What was he telling them? What will the news report say? Man found, naked and dead from lightning strikes in freak hiking accident. Last message sent on his phone. Ravioli, give me the formula.
Alternatively, this is some bitch shit. Bet the lightning won't strike me, though.
Pussy won't.
To segue into my hiking thing, I think I told a story in the how I moved to Japan one, but
yeah, the Monster Musume episode.
Yeah. So I'll just gloss over this one for anybody who hasn't heard that episode. But I was solo hiking, which you shouldn't do, at 12,000 feet, or 11 or 10,000 feet in the Colorado mountains alone, which you shouldn't do, in a rainstorm, which you definitely shouldn't do. And I didn't tell anybody where I was, which you definitely shouldn't do. And I didn't have any rain
you got
protection,
tacos, and they were
which
really,
you definitely
really good.
Shouldn't do. And it started thunderstorming and lightning was striking around me, so I did the white guy shuffle down the mountain. When a white guy's crossing the street and you want to run but you can't run, so you do the quick walk shuffle. I was doing that down the mountain, and it occurred to me if I twist my ankle or something right now, I'm just gonna die. There's nothing good. Nothing good's gonna come of this. So of course I sent I had zero internet connectivity, but I had the good what do you call it? Presence of mind. Yeah, I had the presence of mind to record a video on my phone, asking my friends and family to please delete my internet search history before the funeral. That's what you got to do. I mean, if you don't do that, what's the point?
I mean, honestly, there isn't much of a point.
I mean, if you're going down, you wanna have a nice funeral. You don't want You don't want to read my search history at my funeral. You just don't want to do that.
You don't.
I actually went
Not a good look.
to I went to 2 funerals recently for my great uncles, and after the second one, I told my mom, I said straight to her face, please, for the love of God, do not put any, like, video game related shit at my funeral. For the love of God, please do not do that to me. I would like to die with some kind of dignity. Do not do something like this at my funeral.
I want
swear.
a Super Mario funeral.
I don't like coffin to look like a Mario Bros. Pipe.
We are gathered here today to mourn the loss of Tad Fuck Andrew Hussey Becker. Unfortunately, in this life, he could not hit the question block and find the one-up. He's dead. He's just fucking dead.
His princess was in another castle. As we lower him down. Dude, they gotta play the Super Mario pipe sound where they lower you down.
I was just gonna go with the death sound when you hit a Goomba. Just do 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 do
Do do do do do do do do do do. You didn't get the you didn't time your action commands, right?
I fucked up my Danger Mario Run.
Tad's doing a Danger Mario Run of his fucking life.
Pretty fucking much. Have you seen how I played PUBG? Quick aside here. I've played PUBG for 30 hours, and my lifetime kill total, including when I wasn't even playing and my little brother was, is 26.
That's awful.
This has nothing to do with anything, by the way.
Probably killed less people than I've almost died.
Probably.
To segue back into the topic.
For my part, I have a friend who used to live way out in the country, and it would take me about like an hour and a half to drive out to his place. And the roads near his place were primarily populated by people who could be referred to as folk. Basically, if you can ever refer to people as like country folk, or like, yeah, you know that interesting things are going down. Like river folk.
Yeah, you never want to be around folk.
Yeah.
Mountain folk.
Yeah, bad things happen. So, one time when I was driving up there was a particular stretch of road that had like a big crest and then like a big old dip, right? So I was going over it, like I was about to go over it, and coming along the other side was a car who flashed their high beams at me as I was going over, which is the classic American signal for there's a cop up ahead, slow down, right? So I'm like, oh, thanks, bro,
Yeah.
like, good looking out. And then I crest the hill, and I see an entire damn living room set up in the middle of the road.
Oh.
Not like something fell off of somebody's moving van. I mean, there was a couch with 2 sections on it that were set up, and then a table and some chairs, and they were all set up in the middle of the road. It's like a raccoon family was setting up their dining table. And I had to like fucking swerve to get away from it, and I barely missed it. And I almost went into a fucking ditch, and if anybody had been coming along, like if I had been, like 30 seconds sooner, or like 10 seconds sooner, and had been going over the crest at the same time that guy passed by the sofa thing, one of us would have, like, I would have had to, like, swerve into a ditch or swerve into them.
Okay, I've got a game theory here about what this was. I think they were trying to do, like, insurance fraud or something. Like, they had those insured. Like, oh, well, if this gets hit by a car, we'll get the payment back for it. So let's just go ahead and set it up in the middle of the road.
I don't think fucking living room furniture has an insurance clause for car impact.
Yeah, I don't...
I mean, maybe they got it specifically. Okay, how nice of a set was it?
Yeah, this is
okay.
important.
I did not get an incredibly good look at it, but it was somewhere between high quality IKEA and so like high quality IKEA and like high quality thrift shop,
like Rent-A-Center.
Yeah.
So it's like the furniture you buy in The Sims when you want to get like a shitty stove and fill your house up
Basically,
with furniture and remove the doors.
That sounds about right.
Kind of like one of those.
I mean,
see, I've been relatively safe with my car. The funnest thing I've done in it was just straight up sliding through a 4-way intersection, locking eyes with the other driver, just shrugging because I couldn't stop, and I'm just gonna keep on going. Bro. Nothing I can do about this. I did have a guy I was dragging behind. He had a lot of metal scrap just loosely in the back of his like truck with the cab open, and I'm like, I don't like Jesus. This. So I turned into the other lane, and then he dropped like a fucking like 2x4 made out of solid steel. I just bounced and flew all over the fucking road. It would have been fun if I was in that lane. I probably would have died.
That's some fucking Final Destination.
Legit, I was like, I'm pretty sure this is the intro to one of the Final Destinations. Like, I'm pretty sure there's a car that has like metal fall off and impale the other person. I'm gonna move 3 feet to the left. That'll keep me safe.
Every time you think like, hey, this is something that can happen in Final Destination, you just kind of like adjust your course of action to avoid said situation.
You would
because
think.
Nobody wants to be in Final Destination. It's not a good movie series, and
the question is, who has it better? The characters in the movie who die in very interesting ways and are remembered by their friends and family, or the actors who are not remembered after the movie is over whatsoever?
I'm gonna go with the actors because they get paid.
That's true.
Yeah, definitely go with the actors. As far as times that I've died, times that I've died. I'm alive right now. Don't worry about it. Times that...
Debatable.
True. What are any of us really living? We're recording a podcast. It's like 3 a.m. for you guys. It's like 3 p.m. on a Saturday for me. This is good. It's good use of time. Times that I've almost died in a car twice, I'd say. One time I really fucked up my car. I was driving to work when I had a real big boy job, and it was I think it had just snowed, and the exit for my job way out in the sticks was like you have to pull off to the side. It's like a turn off to a country road, and it was icy and there was black ice.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was going like 55 because the main road was cleared, but my pull off road was not clear. So I go to pull over, and the back of my car just slides out in front. And so if you know how to steer out of a slide, well, your only options are to go back into the main lane, but it's morning traffic, so I can't do that. And so my options were to go off the road. So I went off the road into a snow embankment, slammed my car into the side of a sign, and I tried to call, I thought I was stuck. So I tried to call 911, and they didn't pick up.
it's that fucking Michael dude calling again. Jesus Christ.
No, I never call. I never. That was the one and only time I've ever tried. And they're like, sorry, we're busy. I was like, that's great. Good going. So they go
ahead and leave a voice message.
Basically, they transferred me to another place, and I was like, hey, I need help. And they're like, let's transfer you to a different section.
Hello, 911. What's your nature of your emergency, other than being a little bitch?
So what I did was I kind of got out of the car and I looked around at the sign and all that stuff. It turns out I was kind of like stuck in neutral. So I just drove off and tried to avoid the cops seeing that I wrecked the sign because you're supposed to pay for them, but I never did. Ha! I'm in Japan now. Can't get me.
You fucked him over.
Luckily, the insurance covered it because I wasn't at fault. But
see, what the fuck were you doing going 55? I've never driven more than 40 when it's snowy out, and fresh snow.
Because the main road was clear, but the side road wasn't. It was black ice, but you couldn't tell. It just looked like normal. So I was slowing down.
Oh.
As soon as I go to slow down, I couldn't slow down at all.
Yeah, similarly, recently over the winter, there was a very, very sudden freezing rain episode. So I was leaving one of my friend's house at 1:30 in the morning. I was supposed to take one of them home, and we go out to their driveway, which was black asphalt and slightly slanted, and I stepped out onto the asphalt and just slid down the entire thing. You could not physically stand up because it was still raining, but everything was solid ice. So we had to slide and scramble our way up to my car, scrape the ice off, and then drive 15 miles an hour with zero traction while we watched 15 cars wreck. right in front of us. We just saw people wreck in front of us. Like, the people in front of us were just flying into ditches, smashing into each other, like, spinning out, going 5 miles an hour and slamming into shit. And the entire time, like, I was having a great time because it's genuinely fun to drive in terrible weather.
That is true.
But my friend was kind of like, I don't know about this, dude. And I'm like, come on, it's an adventure.
Fine.
Also,
I think
Also, we were
half
like
of the
an
times
hour
I've died.
away. We were like an hour away from his place.
Alright. I have to say, like, half the times I've died. I keep saying died. I'm not dead. Almost died. Half the times I've almost died.
I feel like do you hear that, Dan? Sometimes there's like chains rattling in the background of his audio.
Yeah, he might be dead. I think he might be
a little bit
dead.
of reverb.
Spooky ghost.
I think I hear a skeleton playing xylophones. Are you?
I think so.
Are you in a graveyard?
No. Definitely not.
Hey, Michael, when you coming back to the skeleton poker game? We got all
Is
of
that
your
what skeletons
ghost
sound like?
friends here.
I got a bone to pick with you.
They barter
Oh, God.
in exclusively in dead people jewelry. It doesn't count unless somebody like was wearing it when they died.
Do body piercings count?
Like I was saying.
That's a good question.
No, God. Like I was saying, half the times I've almost died have been when I've gone, hey, this will be an adventure. Let's see. Going from, like, legitimately almost died to, like, kind of, sort of, maybe would have died. I think scuba diving and skydiving are a pair. So I've almost died scuba diving and I've almost died skydiving. These are borderline cases.
Question:
in my
what
opinion.
made you think
They're,
that either of
the
these?
scuba diving one?
Question:
If I had yeah.
what made you think that either of these was a good idea to begin with?
Well, number one, scuba diving is awesome. Number two, skydiving is awesome.
I agree with scuba diving is awesome.
Like, scuba diving is as close as you can get to, like, the feeling of just, like, free floating and being in zero gravity. It's seriously awesome. I love it. I haven't gotten to go for a long time, though. Probably because I almost died the last time I went. But, you know. And skydiving is the same thing. Skydiving, by the way, is the most terrifying thing I've ever done. I actually have video that I got of me going skydiving. And it's me with no beard and a little chubby boy. Like a little skinny nerd. And this was right when Skyward Sword came out. So they were like recording like, Michael, how you doing? You ready to jump? And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna let the goose loose.
The goose is loose.
And they stared at me like I was a fucking psychopath, but they kept smiling because you have to be like high energy for the video. They're like, what's wrong with you? So maybe if we hit $1,000 on Patreon, I'll release that video.
See, if I ever jump out of an airplane, I'm going to yell Saxton Hale. The TF2
Saxton
reference.
Hale!
Property damage.
So which would you rather start with, scuba diving or skydiving?
Let's go scuba diving. Because I have one that's kind of like, here, let me do my quick one here. I almost got Steve Irwin. I was on vacation.
Could you not?
I was on vacation in Jamaica when I went on that cruise that I got because my dad tried stealing someone's computer, got hit with a lead pipe. And we went to a sandbar. And
Okay, go on.
went to a
That's a great sentence. Continue.
went to a sandbar, and there was a bunch of those eel fuckers. Those
I'm sorry, what?
Eel fuckers?
Is that some sort of racial slur? Because I'm just trying to think about, like, that sounds vaguely racist, but I'm not sure against who. Who would be
those little
described
eel
as
fuckers,
eel fuckers?
with the they murdered Steve Irwin with the tails?
Are you talking about stingrays?
Yeah.
Are you attempting to be racist against stingrays?
I think I was thinking of moray eels.
Eel fuckers.
Though a moray eel didn't kill Steve Irwin.
So it was a stingray, and I was petting it. One of them started getting feisty and threatened to stab me in the chest like Steve Irwin.
That's the shittiest story I've ever heard. So yeah, I was petting these stingrays and one of them got feisty. Gave me a look after I told you about my dad trying to steal a computer and getting hit with a lead pipe. Where does that even come from?
I can explain.
Please
Does it involve
don't.
you almost dying?
Kind of, because it was a few years after my little brother and I went to visit my dad. We went there. We did not shower for 2 weeks.
Good idea.
When we came back, we both had really, really bad infested spider bites. We fixed mine because my mom took a toothpick and I'm sorry, not a toothpick, a thumbtack. I'm not crazy.
I'm sorry, did you grow up in the Great Depression? What the fuck time period are you from?
Let me finish this. Okay, so my mom took a thumbtack. She took some rubbing alcohol and put it in a cup and disinfected it. Took a hammer and smashed the tip of it to make it into a hook. Did not re-disinfect it, and then lacerated the thing, and we squeezed out a bunch of black and green infected pus.
So did you grow up in the Great Depression?
How old are you, Tad?
I am 23, and I drive a car.
I don't believe you.
And my little brother's was so bad that we just went to the hospital because we were like, ooh, that's pretty fucked up. But yeah, my dad is like me if I was somehow a bigger piece of shit. It's pretty great.
That's good. Oh, we have fun here. So yeah, scuba diving. Let me tell you about how I grew up without spider bites and without getting fucking...
We had regular Christmas and we took showers.
Now I feel bad. You're like talking about getting bit by spiders and shit. And I'm like, yeah, so I was scuba diving as a child.
We went to one of our many villas, and wouldn't you know, some of the servants got uppity and attempted a revolution. We put a stop
One of
to
them
that
gave me a
quite
look.
quickly.
He was getting feisty. It looked like he was going to stab me in the chest like he did Steve Irwin.
They call him Stingray Jones. La Revolution. So, yeah, I was scuba diving this one time. And I was like 13, and I always wanted to get scuba diving certification.
Wait.
Just because you need PADI certification to rent air and stuff, so they know that you won't kill yourself when you go underwater, because there's actually a lot involved with it. One of the things involved with scuba diving is pressure differentials. One of them is called delta P. And Google delta P videos, and you'll look, and you'll see how people die. This story doesn't actually have anything to do with delta P, but delta P is horrifying, so I figured I'd let you all know about it. Like, people get caught at like the bottom of swimming pools because, like, if you're clearing a drain, like the drain's clogged, so you get a guy with a scuba gear to go clear the drain at the bottom of the pool, right? And he goes down there. He's not tethered to anything. He just a simple job. Clears the drain, but now the water's rushing by him, and he gets stuck to the drain. And you're like, well, you just get up. Except you can't, because the weight of all of the water in the pool is now pushing you onto the drain. So you sit there for 2 hours until your air runs out. And die.
Basically, if you want to visualize it, imagine that you had a very small hole in like a big old sheet of just solid metal, right? And then you had a big ass wall just crush you into that hole. Like, it's a tiny little pinhole. The entirety of your body is going to get shoved in that tiny little hole.
That's delta P. Extreme delta P.
You turn into what paramedics refer to as a meat crayon fairly quickly.
Is it kind of like that Wibum with the crab on the oil pipeline that's like just chilling there and it gets sucked right in?
That is exactly it.
Awesome.
But my story doesn't have anything to do with that. So for scuba diving certification, you have to do a whole bunch of stuff underwater to prove that you're competent. Like, you throw away your regulator, the thing that you use to breathe, and then you have a maneuver that you do to find it and bring it back. You always have somebody there, so like you're not going to drown or anything. But one of the final tests, and I don't know if it's still the same, because this was like 13 years ago, is when you have to go into an actual diving situation, which is like we were like 30 feet underwater, and you do all the exercises down there. Now, I had two problems happen while I was scuba diving, and if I had been really stupid, either of these could have easily ended up with me like sucking water into my lungs and having a very, very bad time very, very quickly. So this is one of those borderline cases where, yeah, I definitely could have died if I had been stupid, but it wasn't like certain death. That comes later. The certain death one comes later.
Ooh.
So what you have to do is, and I'm not claustrophobic, like I don't have fears of pretty much anything, which is probably why I end up almost dying so much, because nothing really scares me. Like I'm not scared of heights, I'm not scared of spiders, I'm not scared of snakes. The only thing I'm scared of is skinwalkers. But that's another story.
Oh, come on. No, none of us would ever scare you, Michael. Come on.
Yes, me, us, are very normal human. It me, your brother.
Don't do this.
Not Skinwalker.
Skinwalkers are too spoopy. So I'm underwater, right? And one of the maneuvers that you have to do, and this is the worst one, because it taps into one of those like primal fears of like the dark. And
you have to take off the fucking mask?
You have to take off your mask completely. Remove it from your face completely so it fills up with water. Then you have to put it back on your face and then use air from your nose to clear the water out of the mask. It works pretty easily, but I freaked out for like a little bit and sucked some water into my nose. And I was like struggling under the water for like 15 seconds. I still had the regulator in my mouth so I could breathe, but like you start sucking water into your nose and it starts getting bad. So they kind of calmed me down and put the mask back over. But the other thing that happened is I had a rare, very rare thing happen, which is I was 13, so I had adult teeth coming in. And what can happen is, if you think about it, as your teeth come in, there's little pockets.
Oh no!
Underneath them. So if you have a tooth that's loose, right? There's air that gets underneath those pockets, and as you're breathing compressed air, the air gets compressed and it goes into those little pockets underneath your gums. But as you come back up, the air expands.
No.
And it puts pressure on your teeth.
Stop.
So literally every person's recurring nightmare of exploding teeth.
I legitimately had a nightmare just like this about 7 hours ago when I took a nap, where I had a nightmare where my bottom teeth just like popped right out and were jiggling around in my mouth. Don't do this to me.
It wasn't the teeth that they don't pop out. Like they can. You can have an explosive like if it's weak enough, your tooth can literally just like pop out. But what happened to me was there's so much pressure buildup that it puts pressure on your sinuses, and it was like this searing like needle in my mouth. So I had to like shoot up to the surface, like just like instinctively, which you're not supposed to do because you get the bends.
Mm-hmm.
But luckily I was only like 15 feet under, so it wasn't that bad. But if that had happened at like a deeper level, as I was coming up, like we were supposed to go down deeper, like below 30 feet. And it would have happened as I was coming up to 30 feet. That would have been really, really bad.
That would have fucked
So that
you.
was how that was how I almost died scuba diving twice, I guess. So I guess people voted on their phones, and skydiving is next. Is that right? You want to do skydiving next? Vote on your phones now. So skydiving I did, right, much to my mother's chagrin, because she didn't like the idea of jumping out of a plane. By the way, skydiving, most terrifying thing I've ever done in my entire life, hands down. Because the feeling of being up in the plane, like, it doesn't hit you until you're actually up there. It's just the weirdest feeling when they open the plane door and you look out and there's nothing separating you and the ground. And I did what's called an accelerated freefall system, which is normally when you go skydiving, it's tandem, like for your first time. But this was through my college, and it was actually like an introduction course to get certified for regular skydiving. So what they do what's called an accelerated freefall system, where you go out with two instructors who hold on to you, but then the parachute part is all by yourself. So We get up to like, I don't know, 16,000 feet or however high it is. I forget the exact height. But they're like, you ready to go? And I'm like, yeah, I'm really not regretting my choice to do this anymore.
My palms are getting sweaty.
Oh man, my palms are so sweaty when I went up. Dude, it's like, because you don't want to be that guy who doesn't jump, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be the dude who, like, number one, paid to go up there and then gets to the door and bitches out. It's just, you don't want to be that guy. But at the same time, you have to actually, this is the weird part, is you have to make the conscious decision to jump out of the plane. And it goes against every natural instinct you have in your entire body. Because what you do is, you stand parallel to the door. It's a big, like, hangar kind of door. You stand up, you put your head outside of the plane, so you, like, duck down, you put your head outside of the plane, you're looking towards the back of the plane, one arm is in, one arm's out. You're hanging on, you have instructor on one side of you and an instructor on the other, and they go, okay, we're going to jump on 3, and you go 1, 2, 3, and you jump out. You have to, like, physically throw yourself out of the plane. I swear my brain went, like, blank for the first 2 seconds, and on the video you can see me just, like, randomly kicking my feet in the air. Because
wait, so you turned into one of those puppies where you hold them up on their stomach and they start doing a little dog paddle?
Yeah, basically.
Just like, look at that stupid dog. You aren't in the water. What are you doing there?
Yeah, you're not on the ground. So the skydiving itself is amazing. Like, I'd love to go again. I would definitely go again. Because I have dreams where I'm flying pretty often. And it feels exactly like that. You don't get any of the, like, roller coaster, like, pity your stomach drop sensation at all. It just feels like you're floating. And you're only, like, free falling for, like, 40 seconds. But it feels like 5 minutes. Now, here's where the problem starts. It was really, really cold. And I didn't have gloves. I don't know why they didn't give me gloves, but I didn't have them.
Because it's cold at that height. Like,
yeah.
Even if it was a warm July day, it'd still be pretty fucking cold up there.
Yeah, and the wind is whipping by you really fast, so your hands get really, really frozen. Like, it was really cold. So that was one problem, is my hands were kind of clumsy working the... you have to pull your cord.
Mm-hmm.
And so I missed it the first time, and they, like, had to redirect my hands to it, because that's why you have instructors. So I got it the second time. I pulled my cord, and then my chute didn't open completely. Which is bad.
Even worse if it only opens halfway, because then you get tumbled around.
It's actually, yeah, it's actually worse, because you're falling fast enough for the automatic secondary chute to not deploy, but not fast enough to not die.
Oh.
So I look up, and my chute is kind of inflated, but not really. So luckily, this is why they had us do the training stuff. It was, my cords were tangled, so I had like 10 seconds to go back through the training motions and untangle the cords, and then my chute fully inflated, which was good. So there was that. I was seriously about to rip the main chute away and go to the secondary, because that's what you think. But it was fucking terrifying. My first skydiving time, and I have a problem with my chute. That shouldn't happen. That's not supposed to happen. The second part is we're over an active airport. Like, there's other small planes going in and out, and they're supposed to have radio contact with people on the ground to tell you where to go, so you don't run into any of the planes taking off. My radio didn't work.
So, are you about to tell me, like, a fucking 747 flies past you, like, dink off the side of the fucking thing as you, like, front flips all over in the air or some shit?
No. I mean, nothing like that happened.
It's a bird.
This is one of those ones where, like,
it's a
if
plane.
Things had gone poorly.
It's a medium-sized tumbling nerd.
Fuck you. This is another one of those ones where it's like, if things had gone more poorly, I definitely could have met an untimely demise. But as it stands, I had enough time to, like, think about what I was doing to avoid bad things happening. Like, even if you go totally unconscious when you fall out of the plane, once you hit a certain height, your chute will automatically deploy, and you'll probably just end up with, like, a broken leg when you hit the ground, because you'll just kind of drift into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, it was pretty much uneventful. There were a bunch of other people there who, like, when they landed, they didn't collapse their chutes, so they're getting, like, pulled along the ground and, like, smacked into the ground and shit because they didn't pay attention during training. That was funny. I mean, other than that, it was pretty uneventful. Yeah. I bought some people that I took to the. I went with a group because it was, like, smarter to save gas, and I bought them breakfast and they didn't eat it.
What assholes!
I was like, I'm gonna be a nice guy. I went to like Burger King for breakfast, and I was like, hey guys, I got some stuff for you. And they're like, we don't really speak English. We're Pakistan. We're Pakistani, or like
they don't
Turkish
trust
or
your
something.
Burger King.
And they just, like, straight up refused to take any of the food, and they wouldn't talk to me during the ride, and I felt bad.
Hey,
so I guess they could have stabbed me or something. I don't know.
What are you gonna call them, moray eels? Fuck out of here.
They could have Steve Irwin'd me.
I had this the whole sky thing there reminded me when I was young. I had the YMCA day camp. We would go. There was just the school bus and take you right there.
Skydiving?
No. We didn't have skydiving, but I had something fall on me from the sky.
Okay.
So then there was like you'd go there after school, and then they would just have you do dumb shit for like 8 hours until your mom got off work and could take you home. So they had like a backyard area, and there was like a little like a half-assed forest, and like a little playground. They got like a baseball thing.
I'm sorry, how do you half-ass a forest?
There's like some trees. There's not that many, but like they were planted there years ago. They just kind of half-assed
Mother Nature, what the fuck are you doing? God, get your shit together.
And one of them was on like kind of a weird angle, and so kids would climb it and all that. And so I'm in like the middle of the little grassy area. I'm playing Pokemon fucking Gold. Or no, I'm sorry, Silver. I didn't play Gold. That's disgusting. Pokemon Silver was objectively better. And I hear like a creaking and a cracking, and I'm playing Pokemon. I don't give a shit. I don't care at all. I legitimately do not look up from my Game Boy Color, my Pikachu Game Boy Color, as a tree comes crashing down right on top of me.
And sounds in the forest like trees falling. I don't give a shit. I gotta
the only
catch this
thing that is
Pikachu.
making me not believe that your childhood was in the Great Depression or some sort of shitty like 80s kids movie is the fucking Pikachu, like the Pokemon Game Boy. That's the only thing that's setting this apart. Are you sure?
And so there was a little deviation. There's a deviation in the branches, and I fell right in that. If I was like standing anywhere else, or if I would have kept walking instead of stopping to play Pokemon, that tree would have murked my ass. Also, there was a big spider in the branches. I remember that.
Tad, you would have been able to leave this foul plane of existence before learning of Homestuck.
Jesus Christ, you're right. Imagine a world in which I never read Homestuck.
That tree was trying to save you from a fate worse than death.
It failed.
So speaking of failure, so at the college that I go to, I think it was about like 8 or so months ago now, there was what was reported at the time, an active shooter on campus. It turns out it was just a jackass with a car who like then got out and started swinging a knife around, he got a couple of slashes in on some people and then promptly got shot. Like, very quickly. Yeah. No, yeah.
Did he get shot?
Very quickly.
He got murked.
But, so, I was on my way to class. I did not get any form of alert from the emergency thing. So, I was just on the bus on my way to class, and there were a bunch of cop cars everywhere. And the bus driver was like, can't get anywhere past here. Looks like there's a bunch of cop cars. Okay, I'm just gonna open the door and let you guys out. Have a nice day. Ha ha ha. And so
delivering you right into the hands of the shooter.
At this point I was just like, fuck, I'm gonna be late for class. I've got a test today. Shit, this is bullshit. So there's tons of cop cars and shit everywhere. But I just assumed that like some frat dude jumped off a building or something. Or like another person drowned in the... Okay, this is going to actually feel it's OSU in fucking Mirror Lake.
In Mirror Lake,
jumps
yeah.
into Mirror Lake because there's some great tradition of jumping into a freezing cold, pitch black lake. And then people wonder, hey, maybe it would be a bad idea, like if somebody goes under the water and doesn't come back up, nobody can see them. Let's keep doing this.
For you guys who don't know about OSU's Mirror Lake, it's not actually a lake. It's like a man-made thing, so it's full of garbage too.
Yeah.
It's not like clean water. It's like a disgusting pond that every
winter people jump into Mirror Lake as some sort of like weird ritual thing for the sports team. I'm pretty sure that the Buckeyes are powered by some sort of black magic.
Yeah, it's
I'm pretty sure
definitely a murder engine. I'm pretty sure like 4 or 5 people have died in the last 10 years.
So I was on my way walking to class, and I was just talking to this dude, and I'm like, man, this is bullshit. Like, fuck this shit. And I get up to my building. Like, we're just chatting around because neither of us got any form of alert. There's nobody else on the street, though.
Good job, OSU.
I just get up to the building, all the lights are off. The door is unlocked, though, for the big-ass building that my classroom was in. And I go in, I go down to the basement, the lights are on, but then I go over to my classroom and all the lights are off. And I'm like, is nobody here yet? I'm late for class. And I'm just like peering into the classroom and I hear somebody like scream. Somebody opens the door and yells, what the fuck are you doing? Get in here, there's a shooter on campus. And my first response was, wait, shit, really? Word?
Oh, word?
No shit, huh? Well, and so I walk in and everybody is looking at me
Boy,
like,
howdy.
like, what the fuck? Why are you here? I'm like, nobody told me that there was somebody shooting up the school. Like, you would think that somebody would have the decency to tell me.
Did you?
But I immediately...
You should have kicked open the door.
People were like,
Hey, what's up, everybody?
In the corner behind desks that they had piled up. Like, if somebody came in with, like, an assault rifle, they go, oh, that guy's hiding in a fort. He's untouchable. Can't get that guy.
He's got a fort guarded by imagination.
I can't beat that. But, so I immediately got onto the police scanner, and I was just going, please, for the love of God, have the shooter not look like me. I don't want anybody to think... Because my number one concern at that point immediately was, I don't want to walk out and get shot by the cops. So, the second that I got onto the radio and everybody's flipping shit and I hear, suspect is a 6'4" black male wearing gray pajama bottoms, I'm like, oh, thank God. Good shit. Though, people...
Wait, have you told this story
I don't think so on the podcast, but the thing, though, is that the people in that classroom did not appreciate when I made the comment, when they described the suspect, they did not appreciate me saying, yeah, it looks like the guy who did this is like some 6'4" black dude in pajamas. You really think you would dress up a bit more for the occasion? Like, what the fuck, man? Try a bit harder. Like, it's not like you rolled out of bed, looked at the calendar, and saw like a big circled "today's the day," and like you smack your face with both of your hands like fucking Macaulay Culkin and go, "Oh no, I'm late," and you gotta like run out with some toast in your mouth, and you forgot to bring the good guns. No. Like, you aren't going to be late to your own school shooting. There's no excuse to be in pajamas. Do you want to be known as the pajama shooter?
Son of Pajama Sam.
Holy shit! I take it back, that's amazing.
Dude, if you're gonna shoot up a school, like, you might as well be comfy while you're doing it.
That's true. But, so anyway, my phone starts blowing up immediately.
Please don't shoot up a school.
Right? Yeah, I was gonna say.
Dude, I feel like I need to state this here.
Right?
Like, don't be a fucking piece of shit.
But,
it's like that Wikipedia list of serial killers that says, please do not expand this list by adding to it.
Yeah. So, my phone immediately starts blowing up with people, like, asking me if I'm safe and freaking the fuck out. But, of course, I then talk to Michael, and I just send him, ravioli, give me the formuoli. But,
I think that was through Skype, wasn't it?
Yes, it
or
was.
Did you also?
So, however, people were still freaking out and everything, but then they said where the guy was, and it was like a block and a half away, and there's a shit ton of cops between us and that guy, so I'm like, okay, guys, we're fine. And everybody's still freaking out. They're like, how are you fine? How could it possibly be fine? There's a fucking shooter there. And I'm like, we're in the basement of one out of like 20 buildings. We're in this classroom. There's like 5 other classrooms with 20 dudes in them each, right? If this guy comes down here and starts clearing rooms and gets through like 100 of us, right?
Dude, he deserves it at that point.
Dude's a damn supervillain at that point. We need to be calling...
That's impressive.
Like, we need to be calling fucking Wolverine, not the cops. We were fucked from the jump if that guy gets down here and starts doing that. So, at that point, they had not officially lifted the, the alert state, right? But
the one that they did not even message you guys about?
No, they messaged me about it after I got to the classroom. And it was far too late for me to just not go to school that day. So, they then mistakenly sent the all clear like an hour later. And so I just walked out, and everybody was still freaking out. I'm like, I'm gonna be fine, guys. I just want to get back to my fucking car. You know, the guy's a block and a half north from me. I'm going to go south. I'll be fine. And so I see a police barricade after I'm walking around for a bit, and I'm like, oop, better keep a wide berth on that. But I'm, I'm going to go up to it and, see if I can get some directions on where to go. And then the cop turns to me, and he starts yelling something, but I can't really hear it because I'm too far away. And he starts pointing at me and, yelling, and I turn behind me. Like, I do the full-on Seinfeld moment of, I turn behind me, look back at me, like, oh, shit, is the guy back there? And then I don't see a guy, and then I point to him and, point to myself, like, is it me? And he just nods his head, yeah, you. And it turns out I was on the wrong side of the barricade. Whoops. They were like, how the fuck did you get there? I'm like, my classroom was in there. I don't know what you want from me.
I was just walking home.
Yeah, what do you want, dude? And then I go to the bus stop to try and get a ride home, and the bus fucking blows past without stopping. We're nowhere near the barricade, and I still remember this dude's face. The bus driver, we made eye contact, and he was this bastard who every time you got on or off the bus, he would greet you personally. Each person. And he would listen to, country music way
I hope
too
you have
loud.
a great day.
But, if 50 people got onto the bus, you'd be, hey, hello, hi, how are you? Hi, hey, how are you? Welcome on the bus. Hi, hey, hi, hey, fuck you, shut up. It's 7 in the morning.
And then he's just like,
there's
there's a school shooting? Nah, they're just gonna keep on rolling.
And then and then when you got off the bus, it was, have a nice day, 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 have a nice day. Fuck you. Stop being so chipper. But then this bastard, he said, have a nice day, I don't know how many times to me. And then I look him in the eye as a man in need, and I'm standing at the bus stop, and he just blows by that shit.
What an asshole.
I'm like, none of those have a nice days meant anything. Your words are lies. So I had to fucking hitchhike back to my car. And I joked with the guy who I was hitchhiking with, and I'm like, man, wouldn't it be just ironic as shit if I was hitchhiking and you ended up being the guy who shot the place up? He didn't appreciate that joke much.
Yeah, no shit. All right, let's get to the main event here. The time that I most certainly 100%, no more oh yeah, I could have kind of maybe died. It's possible. No. This one right here, we're talking about 100%. Had I not done what I did, I would have been 100% dead. Remember how I said a cliffhanger? I actually meant that literally. Literally hanging from a cliff. So, real quick introduction. I snowboard. I snowboard a lot. Been snowboarding for I don't know. I want to say 14 years now.
Yeah, at least.
So when I talk about snowboarding, I don't mean going up chairlifts and going down the runs that are on the main drag of the place. I'm talking about backcountry, powder, cliff drops, the good shit. That's the kind of snowboarding I like to do. It's also the most dangerous kind of snowboarding you can do, other than like huge jumps. And I don't really do those as much. The biggest jumps I've done, I think, have been like 30-foot kickers or something. And there's a time that I went off one of those and landed on flat ground, which was fun, and I bruised my tailbone. But I don't think that counts as almost dying, because I knew what I was doing.
I knew what I was doing. I bruised my tailbone.
Well, I mean, I could have gotten a bad concussion if I had fallen in a worse way, but I know how to fall correctly, and that works when you're falling from like 20 feet. It doesn't work when you're falling off of like a 60-foot cliff onto rock, which is what almost happened to me. So me and my brother, my older brother, not Daniel, me and my older brother went to Canada for a snowboarding trip, and the weather was really shitty. Like, there wasn't a lot of snow. There wasn't a lot of we were expecting it to snow, but it never really did, so it was kind of a shitty trip. We watched a lot of Kino's Journey, and this was right when the first couple of episodes of Game of Thrones were coming out. So you can probably date that. It was like when episode 3 of Game of Thrones had just come out. Whenever that was.
Very relevant.
Well, I'm just saying, for like timeline purposes, if you want to like stalk me on the internet.
Yeah, let me timeline you about. We've got a complicated multi-universe spanning timeline here. I made it in MS Paint.
I'm saying, for the guy who has like the board of all the Let Me Tell You About cast members with the little lines of string drawn from each of them and pictures.
It's got my name, 1920s, 1940s, 1999, and huge question marks all over it.
Yeah, it's for that guy, right? So, Game of Thrones, first episode. That's when this happened. Figure it out. This was in Whistler, in Canada, which is a really nice place. When there's snow, which there wasn't snow. So, there was also a very weird... what do you call it? Weird weather condition called an inversion. Normally, the higher up you go on the mountain, the colder it gets. The cold air, the air's thinner, it's colder. When an inversion happens, there's a layer of hot air that sits on top of the cold air. So the higher up the mountain you go, the warmer it gets, and it's really weird. And it doesn't happen very often, but this was what was happening when we were there.
It's the pineapple upside down cake of weather.
I mean, if you want to call it something stupid like that...
I mean, I do.
Fuck. Fine, do it then.
I call rain angel tears. It's kind of cute.
I call snow angel dandruff.
Oh god,
I'm just gonna let you people know I don't enjoy any I haven't enjoyed a second of this conversation. Not a single word of it. So, during this inversion, there's nothing to do. Basically, all the snow's shit. So what we decided to do was a very poor decision, by the way, it turns out, was to hike a ridgeline to go over to a snowfield that was untracked. And it was untracked for a reason, because the snowpack was unstable. So, I'm hiking with my snowboard along a ridgeline. And a ridgeline is a line that goes along a ridge. And below the ridge is death. There's I want to say about 10 feet of snow to the edge of a cliff. And the edge of the cliff goes down 60 feet. And below that 60 feet are rocks, pointy rocks, like in the movies, when people are climbing on the mountain and they say, oh no, I'm going to fall down this cliff onto the rock and die. So what I did was I took a step forward and I started to slide down the cliff to the rocks. Quickly. Very, very quickly.
So there was no slow build up to this shit. You just immediately went, whoa!
Well, yeah, because you're walking along and you're picking out places to stand based on where the rocks are. But if your foot slips and you step into the snow, you sink down in, and because it was very warm and wet, my foot just sunk in immediately, and I fell right off the side. I started sliding down. The only reason I'm still alive is because, one, I had my snowboard in my hand, so what I did was I used both hands and I slammed my snowboard into the snow in front of me to like drag, right? To catch as much snow as possible, which managed to slow me down a little bit. And then my older brother, he like hopped down to a place where he could get very, very quickly, like split second, and reached his hand out to me, and I grabbed his arm and he pulled me up. But my feet were like dangling.
Oh, wow.
Over the edge. Yeah, and it wasn't like an edge. Like, you might be thinking of an edge where it's like there's rocks and stuff. Like, you could have propped yourself. No, it's just like an edge of snow that is like an overhang. Like
Yep, because the snow was kind of starting to get all wet and sloppy, so it was just sliding over the edge a bit.
Yeah, so he grabbed my arm and pulled me up, and we didn't want to go back, so we just kept hiking along the ridgeline, and then we had a nice run. And it was a fun time after that. And it was like, oh, that was a good run for today. Let's go home.
Let's not tell Mom.
Let's go back to the hotel room and let's watch some Game of Thrones and not talk about this again. And I think I've told my mom about it maybe once or twice. But yeah. That's the time that I legitimately 100%, like, if I saw the map of where this was on Whistler, I could point out the cliff that I was going to fall down, but it was bad. Like, the weird thing is it was so fast that I don't even have any trauma about it. Like, I still go snowboarding and I still go to, like, huge mountain faces and stuff, and I don't really think about it because it was just such a split-second thing that I didn't have time to be afraid.
Mm-hmm.
My heart didn't start racing until after we got done with the ride itself. And then I was like, oh shit, I could have died there. Good thing I didn't drink. So I defy anybody to have a I almost died more 100% sure than that one, because that was like,
I mean, I can think of some things such as, like, I was being actively shot at, like bullets were whizzing past my head sort of shit.
Yeah, I mean, like people in the military and stuff like that for sure, but like the nerds who listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, the closest thing most of them have got to is like they said, if Mom takes away my cell phone, I'll literally die. And they almost got their cell phone taken away from them once.
I was thinking more like RuneScape. You got ganked in RuneScape. Oh,
that's true too. But I mean, if you lose if you're doing like an Iron Man run and you lose all of those levels, I mean,
basically you got ganked in the wilderness IRL.
Gank me IRL. I can't think of anything else. I feel like but see, this is the thing, is like people are always like, I talk about these times that I've almost died. I'm like, hey, let's talk about the times we've almost died. And people are like, dude, what are you talking about? I've never almost died. Really? You haven't?
Yeah, like legit. I forgot one. Maybe like 2, I think. I guess 3. Like one of them, this was when I was younger, and I was just like hanging out with my friends Miles and Casey, who were 2 ginger twins and who were not very good people.
Okay. So the things that you keep saying Tad? Are so old-timey. Are you sure you weren't, are you sure you are not misremembering your childhood as literally the plot to Stand By Me?
But they were my friends, and they were trailer park kids. They had a rough time of it and all that. But
Jesus, what century are you from?
This is Stand By Me. This is literally the plot to that film.
Are you going to tell us that you were walking along some train tracks, and then there was a train coming, and your chubby friend didn't quite make it, so you had to jump into the water?
Friend.
I was the
chubby friend.
He was the chubby kid in the striped shirt.
I do have a story of almost getting murked by a train.
What? Tad. Your life is not allowed to be the plot to Stand By Me.
But the thing with Miles and Casey is that we were just walking downtown, and they were doing that dumb kid thing where they'll grab you by the shirt and like push you towards the road and pull you back, like, haha, saved your life. And then
what? I've never done that. I've never had that done to me or seen that done to someone. That's a psychopath thing to do.
And so what they do is we're doing it, right? And then so he does that and he pushes me and he loses grip. and I get pushed out in front of a semi going 65 miles per hour.
I don't think he lost grip. I think he tried to murder you.
Yeah, your friend just tried to murder you.
And the best part is that my mom was actually driving by 2 cars behind that semi truck.
Are you saying this kid almost made you get Final Destination by your own mom?
Well, my mom wasn't driving a semi truck.
Any car will kill you.
His mom almost watched him get murdered by his own friend.
Exactly.
Yeah, and if this was, again, a fucking 80s
this is a fucking
movie.
Lifetime movie.
If this, again, was an 80s movie, those kids would have, like, locked eyes with your mom and nobody would believe her.
Yeah, like I'm just
this
the haha guys. We're
special.
having fun here. You know, I got my swirly lollipop. I got my little blue hat, my ribbons. Just hey guys, we're having gay old time. Woohoo! I'm doing my little dances. They push me in front of the semi truck.
Man, this Ted kid's kind of weird, but he's got moves. Look at him go.
Look at him going. He's really really good at Paper Mario.
I feel like this kid might have a podcast in the future.
No, I feel like we need some narration of like, and you know, I never did see those 2 ginger boys again.
I did actually. I saw Kate. Okay, so I did mention they were twins, right?
Is one of them in jail for murder?
Maybe.
There's a long pause between the answer to this question.
Like, I'm pretty sure one of them is, but here's the thing. I went to Taco Bell in Ottawa, and I'm like, oh, hey, I recognize them, but I couldn't tell which twin it was. And so I'm sitting there like, hey, man, yeah, what's up? Yeah, how you doing? And I'm waiting for some kind of tell, like trying to break through someone's poker
they work at Taco Bell?
Yeah, one of the, I don't know, it's either Miles or Casey.
Don't they have name tags?
He didn't have one on because he was a new hire. And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay. So I tell him, like, you know, I get my order. He's like, what's the name on there? I tell him, you know, go ahead and put Richard Crankshaw, the fakest name on the planet. And it didn't have his name on there, so I don't know which one of them it is. And what the other one, I think, is in jail.
Okay, so once again, what we're saying is, you grew up in the Great Depression, your childhood was delayed and was an 80s movie, and that kid didn't accidentally let go of your shirt, he tried to murder you.
I mean, it's
and
possible.
All of this has made me remember the other time that I almost died that I had forgotten that involved an ATV.
Oh shit, yeah, that one!
So, here's a bonus, little after the credits bonus episode. We went ATVing when I was, shit, how old were we?
I was like no.
What?
I was like 9.
Something?
I was like 9 or 10.
Oh, so then I would have been like 12.
Yeah.
And this place, which was of ill repute, let anybody rent an ATV. Like, 12-year-old, you want to drive your own ATV?
Yeah, it was up in fucking, like, Oregon or something.
Yeah, so it's all over these cool sand dunes, so you're, like, doing jumps and stuff. And you're, like, going full throttle. And
oh, speaking of sand
you're going,
dunes...
like, 40 miles an hour.
Real quick, I went to the Indiana Dunes, and I saw someone get paralyzed because he was doing front flips on the sand. And then he did one of them, and then he got picked up by an ambulance. And then I read in the newspaper that someone got paralyzed at Indiana Dunes.
Good for him.
I mean, there's not much better going on in Indiana.
So, anyway, this is how I learned the valuable lesson, which is never follow tracks, ever. When you're snowboarding, skiing, doing any kind of sport,
yeah, you see like a jump or like a path through the trees, and you see somebody else's tracks, and you go, "Oh, there are some tracks there. This is the path." No, you could just be looking at a dumbass.
Or somebody who rode up to the edge and then went back because it was dangerous. So, me being a small child, who had in control of my own like several 100-pound machine. Like an ATV, I don't know what, like, how many cc or whatever it was, but it was beefy. It was enough that I was catching air off of these dunes. I had a helmet, but that's it. No other protective gear whatsoever.
This place was very sketchy.
Yeah. They had all-you-could-eat ice cream sundaes.
Yeah, that was the good shit.
Like, it was attached to a trailer, and we were like...
I'm pretty sure it was just some guy's trailer. I don't think it was an actual business.
No, I mean it was like a trailer park thing where you like hook up your big RV.
No, yeah, it was like a trailer park thing.
It was a fun time. So anyway, I saw some tracks going off of one of these sand dunes, and I was like, oh, that's a place where you could go. But I don't have enough speed to get up that. So obviously, being a smart child that I am, in control of a large vehicle that can go 40 miles an hour, I gun it. I gunned it off the top of this sand dune, and then I was like 20 feet in the air because it was just the
winds had shifted and blew out the rest of the sand dune.
Yeah, so I'm like 20 feet in the air, sitting on top of this thing. My mom saw me and just screamed.
Yeah, he dropped like a rock out of the fucking air.
So what happens is the thing, I had been like hitting the throttle the whole time, so it starts rotating underneath me because it's like,
oh shit, yeah.
So it starts being above my head. So if it would have all come down and crashed on top of me, breaking my neck and paralyzing me, and then I'd show up in the Indiana news.
I'm pretty sure all people who just like injure, maim, or paralyze themselves in a horrifically stupid way just get carted off to Indiana.
Yes. So what I did was I go, oh shit, and I pushed the ATV away from me, more like pushing myself away from the ATV, and I landed head down.
Ooh.
Like, face first in the sand, and the ATV landed like 5 feet in front of me. But it was like really soft sand, so it didn't.
He did the Mario 64.
Yeah. And then I got my head out of the sand, and I got up, and I was like, "Wow, I'm not dead. Let's continue to ride these ATVs."
I'm not dead. How did I manage that?
I crashed into a bush.
And then we kept riding ATVs.
I crashed into a bush that day.
Yeah.
It had some thorns.
My older brother rented a snowmobile once. He rented a snowmobile for one winter, almost crashed it through our neighbor's house, and then sold it that same winter for the same price he bought it.
That's some good value.
I mean, he works at the Federal Reserve now, so...
Crash into somebody's house, sell it back for the same value, what's not to like?
Exactly. All right, are we missing any other big ones here?
I'm trying to remember. I mean, the only other stories that I have that involve severe danger are mostly hood shit. Like there's just a blanket umbrella of hood shit, because when I went to community college, I was the only white friend in our group, and they often took me to quote the hood to hang out and shit, and so things happened. But I mean, it was mostly just me being witness to random bullshit, like people.
We don't talk about what happens in the hood.
Like, you know, you hear some gunshots, you drive in the middle of the night and have a guy in a wheelchair aggressively roll at your car. Things like that. You know, but none of them were particularly life-threatening, just kind of strange.
I mean, that's all I got. I can't think of anything else.
Me and my brothers we had a field in our backyard. And at the end of that field, there was a train track, and sometimes we would fuck around in there, and then the trains would start moving. And what we would do is we would grab onto them, then climb to the top of the trains and jump off.
Tad!
So,
What century do you live in?
I'm not even sure anymore.
Like, you've described childhoods that are from the 90s, the early 2000s, the fucking Great Depression, and an 80s movie. You can't have done all of these.
I'm a man of many years. You ever heard of the Count of Saint Germain?
No.
Alright, well, don't Google him, because he's definitely not me.
God damn it.
Let me look at this dude.
Anyway, so yeah, I guess that'll,
This dude doesn't look nearly... No, actually, this dude looks like he would read Homestuck.
The Count of Saint Germain would, in fact... There is a direct link between the Count of Saint Germain and Homestuck.
God! Oh, damn it.
There's literally nothing that I cannot link, like, pretty close to Homestuck.
I demand we end this episode now. I demand that we end it.
I can tell you
before it gets more Homestuck.
I can tell you how endings are not related to Homestuck. Pow, pow.
No Homestuck. This is over. do the outro.
Alrighty, so my name is Tad. You can find me on Twitter at Let Me Tell You PD, or you can send an email to the show at Let Me Tell You About at gmail.com. That's Let Me Tell You About with 3 T's, because otherwise it wouldn't fit. The show's on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play. We've got a website, www.letmetellyyouabout.moe is the preferred URL, or there's www.lmtya.com. LetMeTellYouAbout.com still costs $3,000, so that dude can go suck a dick.
On that note, wait, shit, no, not on that note.
Who
boy. I'm Michael. You can find me on Let Me Tell You About from time to time, like today. You can also find me on our sister show, I guess you would call it, Revival, where I play Elias the Elf.
It's Dungeons Dragons
it's actually
podcast.
Good. Seriously, it's good.
Dungeons Dragons.
It's
I DM
good.
it.
Watch it.
I DM it. It's fun.
You can find me also on Twitter at PulpFan69. You can find me on twitch.tv/bro_operatives, where we're streaming. Me and Dan are just two brothers streaming stuff, having a good time. Check it out sometime.
Remember to comment,
and,
subscribe, smash that motherfucking like button, 5-star that iTunes, Google Play, review score, app, download,
slide me $5 under the table.
Tad, how many more buzzwords do I need to fit in here? I'm contractually obligated to how many was it specified in the contract?
3 or 4.
I want to say 6.
6? How many am I at?
You're at
6.
You're at 6 exactly.
Okay.
Do not go any more above. Do not add a single one.
Yeah, because then you would owe me extra for overtime.
Exactly. And I ain't gonna fucking pay that, so
synchronize.
Clock out early.
Shit show brought to you by Patreon. Thank you, Patreon people, for these nice mics.
Yeah, please be sure to go onto Patreon if you would like to see more content like this. You owe me money now.
Shit. But there's also a Discord where you can usually find us all hanging out. And it's a lot of fun. Pretty good place.
We have fun here.
Anyway, so let me go ahead and tell you how the word Discord is in fact related to home stuff.
No.
Because the definition of the word.
Shut up.
Nope.